It's been close to a year since I've made my Gmod Horror Maps video, a project of mine where I play with various friends on some of the many popular but poor in quality spooky maps. So if you haven't watched that video, you probably might want to. Since then, it's probably been my absolute favorite video of all time making, and boy was there a lot of horror maps that I missed. So now we're back, reviewing more scary maps on a 2-decade-old game. You can't peak my content any higher than that. Throughout the video, I'll be joined by a couple friends of mine whose channels will be in the description. I'll also make sure to play the game as intended, meaning no add-ons and no clipping and other cheese like that. So anything that the game allows me to have, I will use. Oh, and don't attack the creators of these maps, please and thank you. But yeah, without further ado, let's dive into the workshop of more garbage Gmod horror maps. Let's begin. So of all of the horror maps that I have the choice to play, the first one I'll be choosing is The Bunker, horror in parentheses. A game that features spooky jump scares, a ripe storyline, and Wallace Breen. Looking at the description, it simply states out the rules and credits to the map, and that the gameplay is around 20 minutes. Sweet. It also remarks that this game contains boss, scary jump scares, story, and Lewis scripts. But as for the number of downloads, scrolling down, it has over 100,000 plus and 200,000 visitors. Christ. Well then, with all that being presented to you, you'd think it'd be like the greatest horror map in the world. But think again. Spawning in, a couple of Combine soldiers task you to get into the bunker. After breaking several crates and turning a wheel, we enter the building, and oh noes! A spooky charred zombie.
Hey, that's my mom.
Anyways, now we have to unlock yet another door. Yeah, so this is one of the first problems that I've noticed with this game. The map, throughout the playthrough, consistently has you unlock several doors at a time. Of the 20 minutes we spent on this map, a good 5 minutes of it was just trying to unlock doors. It also doesn't help that the map is extremely claustrophobic, with most of the game being in tight, cramped hallways. Thankfully for the door, all we had to do for now was turn on another wheel. And going in the room, we rummaged around for a bit before dying out of nowhere. Okay. However, it doesn't just end there. Upon respawning, we now wake up in a strange, dark room. Okay, so the lore of the map at the moment is a bit I mean, we just entered 2 rooms and then we died. But this game later has a storyline where the lore is all revealed. So for now, we just have to traverse the building, where we have to unlock more doors. Yay. In this room, we would also quickly stumble upon our second problem. The puzzles in this map are just... what? When you're not trying to figure out where a certain key is, you're instead trying to solve the most goofiest of puzzles. The only door that we found to be unlocked was just a wall. Okay, nothing much to think about, right? Wrong. Later on, I accidentally found a crowbar in a dark corner. We can't turn on flashlights, by the way. And soon after, we discovered we had to mine out the wall. But finally, after unlocking all the many doors and missing a jump scare, we found a dead guy, grabbed his key, and then this happened.
Something's behind this wall.
Oh my
I saw it.
Huh. But hey, now we have a proper storyline, being that this was a bunker made in 1940, and the Combine discovered it 422 days ago. You were one of the new and Combine troops? And you discover all the weird things about the bunker. Yeah, you get the point. We're Combine soldiers in a strange bunker. I think we already knew that. And oh noes! It's the spooky G-Man! And all of a sudden, we were then teleported in a white room where we got stuck in each other. And now we were arrived in a house in some void. In the house, we experienced things like seeing a dead woman just explode, and also a note saying that we were in the basement. And after that, the absolute most goofiest puzzle that I've ever experienced commenced. Alright, so let me just give you the layout of the house. All the rooms are here, and here. There's also outside with a few barrels in a void. Now, riddle me this. Where is the basement? Absolutely goofy. Now here's the thing, I'm not trying to discourage mappers from making big brain IQ puzzles for players to solve. It's just that, how are you ever gonna guess this? I only ended up finding it because I accidentally pressed E on the floor. I hoped we weren't that dumb, so I looked at YouTube to see any other playthroughs on this game, where I discovered that Markiplier and Yamimash played this. And even then, they literally rage quitted because they just couldn't find it. I can't go in! Okay, but whatever. We went into the basement. where we found, wait for it, more locked doors and a spooky jump scare of just a rebel.
Jeez.
Yeah, so a lot of the gameplay is just the same, so I'm just gonna fast forward to the main parts. We then unlock a door, fall through the map, and remember how I said this map was too claustrophobic? Well, my criticism was suddenly reverted, and now we're in an expansive, foggy area. But like I said, we're gonna skip through some of the details. We clicked a button, walked through a hallway, and then, out of complete nowhere, some kind of vehicle comes in where we get run over by a Combine Elite, and we're given weapons to shoot it with. So now we have to shoot the glass while dodging lasers and headcrabs in the process. Okay. This just went from 1 to a billion really quickly. Wait, why are we fighting a Combine Elite? I thought we were a part of the Combine too? I guess not. But anyways, we finally break the glass and kill the Elite. To which we entered another basement, broke a wall revealing a key, and oh noes, it's Wallace Breen. Okay, bye I guess. Defying the laws of physics now, we morph out of the room, and Breen opens the door to a white void for us. And then the map ends. Okay, so I have several questions for this map. Why is Wallace Breen here? What's with the weird puzzles? Why did we die in the first place? Why is this so popular? And so on. Because if I were to give you a summary of the game, you go into a bunker, unlock doors, die, wake up, unlock doors, kidnapped, unlock doors, fall down, unlock doors, and then you fight a Combine Elite and get kidnapped again by Breen. And that's it. Overall, this map is just mediocre at best, but I will give it credit for not having any game-breaking bugs. It's just simply a playable, but otherwise boring level. This goes into the B tier of bad maps. Not great, not terrible. I don't really have anything else to say about this map anymore, so let's just go on to the next one. The second map on my list is Shadows Chapter 1, a map that, from what I know, was deleted and re-uploaded by another guy. In the description, the uploader also mentions how this map might be a bit broken, and that it might be for single player, but maybe it isn't. Oh dear, that is not a good sign for this map. Regardless, I decided to get my friend Freddie Mercury in this, and our game session was, as you can imagine, very strange. We spawn in this red area with the spooky woman, and going near her, we then teleport in a room, and now the game begins. Basically, the lore of this game is that, actually, I have no idea. There is absolutely no consistency for the story side of things. One moment you're in a house, and then you explore into the neighborhood, only to barge into someone else's house, but the owner is dead, so I guess it doesn't matter. But anyways, we go into their basement because why not? But, oh noes! The stairs have broken for some reason. But our character believes that it's because he needs to lay off fast food. How immersive. However, oh noes! Our dead neighbor appears to have a satanic cult in his basement. And now we need to open this door by finding 2 stone blocks. One in a chest of this flesh guy, and the other in a child. And the fact that I'm not phased at all by saying that is a bit worrying. A weird thing I've noticed about this map as well is that there is no consistent theme. We started off in a black room, then our house and into town, and now we're in a satanic room, and once we press on, we are now in this spooky, dreamlike area. I don't even know what to call this place. Who are these people? Oh, and there's also a handful of jump scares in this map, and as you might guess, they're not very good. In fact, some of them even tend to push you and linger for a bit. So that's a bit weird. But after leaving whatever this place was, we have to open several doors in order to progress. There's this cool bit right here where the door loops back to where you are, but with my boy Freddie Mercury, we ended up glitching a bit. But soon after, we pick up some gas, grab a comically large key, and now the first part of the map was completed? How do I know? Yeah, I forgot to mention, there are 2 chapters to this for the already only chapter. Moving on to the second part, not only did I lose Freddie Mercury in the process because he had to go, but I also spawned in a little waiting zone, where there's several people to interact with, like this guy watching a pony. Are you confused? Well, too bad. It's about to get even confusinger. Now I'm trapped in the small area where this doctor guy says he'll kill me, and once again, we have to unlock a few more doors to progress. This time with the added bonus of ice. Yeah, apparently one of the parts of the lore is that I have no shoes on, so I put some on in order to cross. That's definitely the first time I've seen that. Shortly after picking up the key and seeing the doctor again, my vision is now for some reason blurred. I actually found this to be one of the good parts of the map, as I had to run away from a zombie torso while running at a snail's pace. But then, I just ended up shooting the zombie anyways, so that was short-lived. Continuing on, I shoot more zombies and blow up a wall with C4, and oh no, why is there a German symbol from the 40s here? What did this add to the game? Now I have to make sure I don't get demonetized. What makes this even stranger is just how the map ends in general. I then put myself in the bathtub only to spawn in another room, thank God, and then the end. No, seriously, that's it. So in conclusion, Shadows Chapter 1 is strange. It's strange in its map design, its lore, and honestly, I don't even know if this is a joke map. It had interesting ideas, but then cut them short. And then of course, there was that silly symbol. No wonder this map was deleted. Fun fact as well, the creator of this map actually is now a proper game developer, and later on made games such as the Spooky Jumpscare Mansion and Lost in Vivo. So it's interesting to see his past work. This goes into the A tier of bad maps. It's just, solid garbage. Even the top comment points that out. I should also add too that since this is a chapter-based series, I will actually play the Chapter 2 one in this video, but that will be later on for suspense reasons. So for now, it's time to go look for a new map. The next map I'll be playing is Teapotium Horror Map, whatever that means. Am I even saying it right? For this particular map, I'm gonna be getting 3 friends of mine. So during my adventure, I'll be joined by an old man, a burnt corpse, and Peter Griffin. If you're wondering who I am, by the way, I am O.J. Simpson. First things first though, we have to look at the description, to which the developer just flat out says that this is his first map, and that this is disgusting. I mean, hey, at least it's honest, I guess. But oh look, we actually have a storyline. Our hero has fallen asleep, and in their sleep, went to visit their friend in an asylum. In the process, our hero had fallen from the mountain and decided to collect 5 watermelons to summon the great Mexican teapot. Okay, you know what? I think it's just best we get into the map now. Beginning our story, we start on very pointy hills, and a huge white tower. Oh, and ignore that. My friends are just changing their player models. Okay, look, I sort of lied. I did install some add-ons such as the Homer Simpson character player model, but nothing else, I swear on earth. Anyways, moving forward, we enter the building and, for some reason, we're presented with a looping hallway. Every time we would get near this door, we were suddenly just transported back, which for 4 players did not result well. The way we dodged the system was just by going back to where we started, now showing a huge gate. Opening it, we get, oh my god, more locked doors. I wonder if I have seen this area somewhere before. Looking in the rooms, they just seem to be asylum cells. But other than that, nothing else was interesting. And we soon found the one openable door. And then, for some reason, the ground just breaks, and we fall down to another primitive-looking field, and now we have to find 5 watermelons to summon the Great Teapotium. What? We're not even under 2 minutes into this, and I'm already going insane. But now we have to do a goofy-ass scavenger hunt. So finally, after collecting all the melons, the game then told us to go back to where we started, and now we created a melon pentagram. And just as soon as we started, it was done. The end. Honestly, maybe it was because of how short this map was, maybe it was just the downright absurdity of it, or that I was exploring with Peter Griffin, but after the game was over, I was left speechless. Looking on the workshop, it looks like this game has over 1,000 visitors. Impressive. But hey, I mean the game at least had engaging gameplay such as a watermelon hunt. So overall, this game is an absolute 10 out of 10. I can't put this any lower than S tier. The next game on my list is Eldridge's Ocean Horror, a map with a decent horror concept, but is otherwise a pretty basic map with goofy jump scares. Looking at the workshop, the game has over 70,000 visitors with a 4 out of 5 star rating. In the story, you and your cool friends are sailing the vast seas, when you notice a seemingly abandoned cargo ship labeled Eldridge. You work your way through the thick fog, then stop to check out and explore it, with a twist ending. Alright, so basically, me and my 2 nerd friends I forced on this trip randomly decide to breach this poor ship. Ooh, that rhymed. Now, like I said before, I actually do think this map is decent in concept. I am not a big fan of the ocean, and here we are, in the middle of it. Where the map falls in grace is when we actually enter the ship. It did take us a little while to figure out where to go, as it didn't give us a specific direction on how to enter it. Even when we found an opening, sometimes we just couldn't open it. But finally we find the one vent that opens, and enter in. Throughout the rooms we explore, several jump scares appear out of nowhere. Sometimes they tend to linger for way longer than they should, so it ends up being more annoying than actually terrifying. Another issue I've noticed is that the gameplay is just meh. Most likely because of how small the ship is. Our playthrough just consisted of walking in a few rooms, experiencing some scares, and then solving the one puzzle in the game, that being unlocking a door. And by this point in the game, I think the developer just straight up got tired working on this, because unlocking the door, we press a single button, and then all of a sudden, we have to escape the ship because... why not? Okay, so we're only 5 minutes in the ship, and we've already concluded that we should leave. Kinda pointless, but okay. So we do just that, return back to our ship, and if that's not enough evidence that the map maker got bored, now we have to fight a large picture of a shark with our weapons. Oh my god, how spooky. Once we get rid of the picture, the game ends. Honestly, I actually thought this game might have been fairly good at first. But then the game just evolves into maze-like vents, unscary monsters, and then whatever this was. So for the tier list, I'll be putting this in the C tier. The next map on my list is Shadows Chapter 2, the sequel to the broken map that was Chapter 1. Unlike the first one though, this one has a bit more polish to it, but not by much. It also doesn't help that in the description, there isn't much lore to go off of. Just saying that this is a single player map and that some of the puzzles are difficult. Yeah, so even though I played with my friend on Chapter 1, this one I must play alone. Funnily enough, I accidentally played this for the first time with a friend of mine, and we ended up glitching the map in several ways. So I'll be replaying this alone as intended. How spooky. Spawning in, I wake up in a hotel room with a very uncomfortable looking bed. Oh, and it looks like I forgot to flush my toilet. So remember how I recalled that the puzzles were difficult in the description? Yeah, no, it's just unlocking more doors with keys. And if it's not that, you're breaking down wooden boards. To which I grabbed a crowbar from this corpse's mouth. Oh, and look, it's the spooky Slender Man. Uh-oh. I should also mention that because this map was made a decade back, the main monster you'll be seeing in this game, apart from a few zombies, is the Pale Suit Man. Anyways, after traversing downstairs, I try to find yet another key for a locked door, all while being jump-scared by Slender Man and a Teletubby-looking thing. And here's where one of the hard parts of the puzzles come in. You have to find a key to unlock this door, but all you're given is a hook on string and that's it. So what do you think you use it for? I couldn't figure out. I ended up spending a good few minutes walking around the hotel mindlessly. It was only until I went back into my bathroom when I realized that, oh, I have to pluck the poop out of my toilet to find the key. Of course. Thankfully, that was the only seriously hard challenge for me. I soon unlocked the door, and then got attacked by a spooky zombie. Now, here's another thing that I got confused lore-wise with this map. After killing the zombie, I then go outside into the dark. Wait a minute, I'm free. So you'd think this would be my chance to escape and go live happily ever after. But no. An invisible wall here just doesn't let me escape. For some reason throughout the map, the creator makes really strange invisible barriers for out-of-bound areas. First, you couldn't even jump over a few small objects, and now the game won't let me walk through the street. So instead, I go into the sewers through a hole. Smart choice for me. And now the barrier problem is even more annoying here, as you're not allowed to jump over the water. But hey, at least this map has HD water animations. Continuing forward, I open a door and find a Magnum, which has a lovely vomit texture on it. Oh, and also, fun fact, one of the fast zombies appeared out of nowhere when I grabbed the gun, and for some reason, completely crashed my game. When I relaunched the map, the fast zombies were now a completely different thing all of a sudden. No, I did not install any add-ons for this. As well as retexturing your gun, I guess it also remodels the monsters. But once again, the gameplay is the same as the hotel. I kill several zombies, complete random puzzles, get keys, and unlock doors. I will also mention that I found several notes along my playthrough, which, to put it bluntly, is just overly edgy, plain and simple. There was a neat element I saw where I had to shoot a button to unlock this bridge, but here's the thing, I actually ran out of bullets the first time I played, so I ended up being soft-locked and had to cheat to get some ammo. which is not good because having an easy way to softlock your game makes the map all more frustrating. But it gets even stranger. When I opened the second locked door in the sewers, before I could even enter into the next room, I was suddenly teleported into an intermission, featuring DeviantArt and ponies. Why was this place needed? Not sure. All I knew is that I had to quickly get out of this place. So finally, after running around for 3 minutes and unlocking doors, I find myself in this looping hallway with Slenderman in it. How do I know it's looping? Well, when I played with my friend originally, we ended up teleporting behind each other. So now I have to walk in this hallway for another minute while the pale guy chases me. Yay! This is really engaging. And now we enter our last puzzle. There's this door right here that I need to open by stabbing these eyes with a blue and red needle. How dark. But anyways, I do just that, and then this happens. I am the table! What? I'm starting to seriously question if this is supposed to be a serious horror map. It has all the check marks that try to make it scary, but just when the setting gets all dark, it suddenly just puts me in DeviantArt land. And now this table guy. What was the creator's view on making this? But yeah, that's pretty much all there was to this map. I soon glitched out of the table and watched him float off. Then I opened a door, saw a shadow sign, and that's it. Rolled the Half-Life 2 credits for some reason. At first, I was a bit confused on how I should rate this map, because I can no longer tell if it was meant to be serious or not. But overall, when it wasn't throwing me in MLP areas, it was repetitive, boring, and unscary. I will acknowledge it's a bit better than Chapter 1, but the only difference here is that this one wasn't too broken, and like most maps on here, this one was really popular in spite of its shortcomings. The last thing I'll do is give a quick mention to this Chapter 3 map, but I won't be playing that here since I've already talked enough about these two maps. Overall, I think C tier is a comfortable place for this thing. On to the next level now. Another map I'll be playing with a few friends of mine is Nightmaric Hotel, a game that isn't nightmaric nor in a hotel half the time. Oh, and also, this claims to be a psychological horror game, which is half right.
Oh my god! You're gonna make me have a fucking heart attack.
For once, the description here provides a decent background. You lost a bet from your friends, and now your punishment is you have to explore an abandoned hotel. But little did you know, there are paranormal activity within the hotel. Will you survive to tell the tale, or will you be thrown into an endless loop of nightmares? Spoiler alert, yes, that's what happened. And the rest of the list is either tag words, or again, the developer saying that this is his first horror map. I swear it's just a coincidence. All of the maps that I'm looking for in the horror workshop just so happen to be their first. I swear to God I'm not cherry picking them. So anyways, I will be joined once again by Peter Griffin, a skeleton, and a local chimp I stole at the zoo. The perfect team for a spooky environment.
Side by side. Get in.
This looks like the Weezer Blue album.
Now, unlike a map like Teapotium, this one has a fair enough amount of polish for a first horror map. It even has custom textures and sound effects, as well as a secret counter, though I never found any. We start on the map in what I presume is our hotel room, featuring a pink and purple texture on the table. Good first impressions. But now we enter the lobby, and have to turn on the power. We do just that, and continue forward into the game. Now, like I hinted starting the map off, one of the main problems I've noticed is that this level has an identity crisis. It says it takes place in a hotel, but then we enter places like sewers, generator rooms, asylum-like areas, and we even have a couple of psychosis episodes here and there. You could argue that, oh, it's supposed to be that way because it's paranormal. But apart from the dream sequences, it's probably not. I'm also a bit put off by the fact that there was stock horror music in the intro to the game. The map also provides plenty of variety in its gameplay. You have to find keys to unlock doors, blow up a sewer with dynamite, and even fight a couple zombies here and there. There's also the occasional spooky figure behind a corner, and yet, we still weren't terrified. Let's talk about the dream sequences now, one of the unique selling points for the game. Throughout our playthrough, we became trapped in presumably our own minds, and now we had to escape via parkour or unlocking more doors. I actually did really enjoy this section, though that was probably more because my friends were bad at the game than anything else. We're eventually given crowbars where what's definitely not a hotel, and we soon backtrack to the generator room. Another neat mechanic in this game I noticed is the use of checkpoints. I presume because you'll die a bit in this game, you can respawn and choose a door that teleports you back. So once again, pretty unique. Anyways, I'm sure you can already guess the rest of the gameplay by now. We kill more zombies, unlock more doors, and so on. Eventually, we, for some reason, gaslight the area, and now we have to escape a burning building. To conclude, we end up running to a light in the tunnel, only to figure out that it was a dream. Whoa. Oh wait, but not really. Oh noes. But yeah, that's about all I have to say for the gameplay side of things. To be honest, this map actually wasn't half bad on a technical level. For a first horror map, it provided decent and varied content, and for once, this wasn't a level that just had you unlock doors over and over again. So I'm gonna be putting this in the F tier, the only map that'll be in that list. It was a fun little 20-minute level with interesting content, but otherwise is absolutely not a psychological horror game. I don't know how anyone could think that. For my next game, I'll be getting me and my 2 friends from the ocean map to go and play GM_Horror Toilet. By far the scariest horror map we'll be playing here. It's so scary in fact that we literally had to kill each other multiple times out of pure coping. Spawning in, we were put in a bathtub with, oh god, a toilet! And now throughout the game we have to do, something. Unlike most horror maps we've been playing where it's super linear, this one is a bit more open with a lot more random rooms. We're not given an objective at all on what to do, which makes sense because this is a horror map about a toilet. Reading the description, it's very clear that this is a joke map, if it wasn't obvious enough. But you know what? No, screw you Russian engineer profile pic. I didn't play 20 minutes of this map just to be told it was a funny haha joke. So you know what? I'm gonna take this as serious as a Minecraft greaser. The Gmod map known as Horror Toilet is perhaps one of the most scariest levels in the workshop. Its lingering dread as you play continues to increase to the point of anxiety. But to be honest, while I think the map is decent as a scary title, what I'm more interested in and what I'm more impressed about is the philosophical parts of it. In this scene where we have to go down an elevator after visiting the toilet, most players won't notice that this is actually a metaphor. The metaphor being the elevator is the toilet, and you're being flushed down it. It represents the map creator's hatred for modern Gmod players, and compares them to nothing more than poop fart. Anyways, we go down the toilet chamber and kill some zombies, which is yet again another metaphor for, the rotting corpses of Fortnite YouTube channels. After exploring places like skinny hallways, and even going outside to touch grass, we then find a car that we need to start up. We do just that, but then this happens.
Was that it?
Oh.
No, it's not it.
I'm literally shivering from the fear trembling down my pants.
I'm gonna cry now.
So overall, after finishing through with sweat and tears down my face, I can confidently say that this goes in B tier. And I hope you understand my rating. Continuing our journey, the next horror game I installed in the workshop is Horror Experiment, which is pretty much treated as just a demo, and yet despite that, has gone extremely popular. Before beginning the game, we have to read these rules, which is just basic commands saying not to no-clip and so on. We're also presented with 3 white boxes. Teleporting in the middle, I was put into a spooky cage, but thankfully I removed the gate. However, my friend over here wasn't so lucky. He was in a cage given a password, and I was given a passcode. But despite that, the passcode numbers just wouldn't hit where my crosshair was. And then it just stopped working in general. No matter what I did, the buttons would not respond. So we kinda had to cheat because the game already broke a minute in. And now the objective for the rest of the game is putting these 3 bricks on whatever this platform is. As you've already seen from the title, it's pretty obvious that this was made more for a test, as the description on the workshop just simply says, and co-op single-player horror experiment. The only places you can explore in this game is a courtyard, some black void, and a sewer. Oh, and it tends to play jump scares that can kill you. Oh dear. Yeah, so this game tends to kill you a lot with no prior warning, so we had to respawn a couple times due to that. And also halfway through the game, it just throws an antlion guard at you for some reason, and due to the game being about 10 minutes in length, there wasn't much to do in this. Anyways, we soon got our final object, and whoa, it says end. Congratulations.
Wait, that was it?
What confuses me even more is the fact that this has over 30,000 subscribers, even though the map itself is rough and basic. I truly don't even have anything else to say about this. It's just really primitive. Like many maps, I'll be putting this in B tier. So this map is going to be rather confusing getting into, because the next game I'll be playing is Night Mansion, a game that is not on the workshop at all. The only way I got this map was via a horror collection made a decade back. So there's no description, no ratings or anything like that. The only way I can observe the game is by playing it directly. So let's get in. The first thing that we both noticed is that we were allowed every single weapon in our arsenal. I tried to avoid using the fizz gun as much as possible in these maps, even if the devs didn't stop me from using them. But regardless, my boy Jeremiah here had a bit of fun with this.
Why don't we just move shit around?
As for the gameplay itself, we were immediately put into a puzzle area. We have to figure out this passcode, I got jump scared, and there was purple textures. Despite that though, I actually just managed to unlock the passcode through trial and error, because it made a beep sound when I pressed the right button. Anyways, we then found some spooky gas,
There's fart cloud.
a bunch of stalker jump scares, and my friend falling off the void.
Oh god!
He also went in this upside down room that soon fell, and we decided to kidnap one of its bodies and call it Andrew Tate.
Bringing Andrew Tate. Let's bring him. I'll grab him by the. I'll grab him by the foot. Here we go.
Not even 2 minutes in, and we've already gone insane, looks like. Oh, and speaking of 2 minutes, that's how long this game lasts. We then went down this hallway, but then the wall started closing in. But then it didn't, and that was it. Except not really though, because there's actually a sequel, which puts us once again in another code room. Now we may just be the most brainlit people in Gmod, but we could not figure out what the passcode could have been. So we just gave up and cheated. Oh, and there was this bit where the wall was closing in on us, but then it just opened again. How generous of the monsters. A bit like the first part, it's pretty much just walking through hallways. The hallways end up changing, we fight a singular zombie, and experience perhaps one of the loudest jump scares on the planet.
Bam.
What the heck? Oh my god.
Congratulations, that was the only time Gmod horror maps have ever scared me, via tinnitus. But again, we go in the vent change, and that's it. To be honest, I can't really tell if this map was just made as some kind of demo, as it's really rough and was only about 10 minutes of game time despite there only being 2 parts. There isn't even an actual page about these maps. It literally just exists in a collection. Oh wait, never mind, it's on Game Banana, but there's still no lore, so But other than that, there just wasn't anything too interesting about it. I'll be putting it in C tier, a classic Gmod horror map that has for some reason been played a billion times. And for our last game, let's take a look at the Abandoned Facility, which is perhaps one of the more worst side of the maps we played. Unlike some bad maps that were just terrible as a joke, or maybe even a test, this one is the real deal. It is pure garbage. Which is strange too, because it actually makes a few interesting concepts throughout the game. Scrolling down, it states how this is a medium-length horror map, with features such as glow sticks, checkpoints, and even 2 different endings. So for first impressions, it actually might seem like a pretty good map. Once you load in though, you'll soon have your enjoyment worn off. When you start the game, you first have to figure out a way to break this lock. Okay, not too bad. We soon opened it by finding a key and continuing on. But then you have to unlock a door, then another, and another, and then it hits you. This campaign is nothing but unlocking doors over and over again. If you thought maps like the bunker was bad, have your entire level being around these doors and is twice as long. There's this glow stick that you start out with that is intended to be used, but trying it out, it just feels really clunky. And even the developer just straight up says, you can use the flashlight if you want. So that idea was thrown out the window. The game also tends to constantly shift in theme and identity. In the span of 20 minutes, you're in bunkers, facilities, the Citadel for some reason, random mazes but smaller, prisons, and psychotic episodes. Okay, but what about the Citadel though? Why are we in this? Keep in mind, we first started out outside into a cave, and now we soon realize that, oh noes, Kleiner died. Another bad part about these puzzles is that you more often than not have to solve another puzzle just to solve the original puzzle. Like for example, we have to unlock this door, but there was this gas in the way, so we had to unlock another door to turn off the gas. What? This game also has a fair few zombies to shoot, blowing stuff up, and even experiencing a few mental episodes. But that is a fraction of the gameplay, as it's all about those doors. We also didn't take an elevator in time, so we managed to get stuck in the bottom floor and had to no-clip. The only unique puzzle we solved was matching shapes onto a shaped platform. But even then, this one is optional, as it's actually one of the ways you conclude the two endings. Finally, after going through the most brainless gameplay, you're presented with either downstairs or upstairs. Downstairs, you have to solve that shape puzzle I mentioned earlier, and then you're put into a dark room, and that's it. If you go upstairs, you have to go through this maze and click a button, only to do a boss battle, where you shoot these eyeballs in the midst of zombies. Doing that, we were then put back at the start, only this time it was outside, and we could finally leave with our car. Yay! So to conclude our final map, it sucked. It was polished to some extent, and even carried a few good ideas. But I have to say, that was all overshadowed and redundant by the fact that the map devolved into an unlock the door simulator. Even the comments point that out. But hey, it has over 30,000 subscribers, so I guess some people out there like this. But for me, I'll be putting this in A tier. It felt harsh considering it probably took some time to make, but man, the gameplay is anything but good. And that was the last game on my list. So overall, Source Engine horror maps are poopy. Who would have guessed? To be honest, I think one of the main problems with these maps is that the engine just isn't built for these kind of things. And to this day, the dark room on GM Construct will always be 10 times as scary as any of these levels could ever be. Oh, and before anyone says, well, you just don't know what it's like to make these maps, I actually have an entire Half-Life 2 campaign I made that took a couple of months to make, followed up with a couple of Gmod levels. So I know what the grueling process of the Source Engine is like. And yeah, these are still kinda poopy. But hey, I guess that's just my opinion. If two 20-something-year-old dudes somehow get scared of a stalker jump scare, then I guess anything's possible. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you sometime in the future. Goodbye.